From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 6th of July, 2022. Good afternoon. Today we'll be discussing some of the biggest stories, including Donetsk being ordered to evacuate and TikTok being sued. We'll also be answering today's big question: how close are Sweden and Finland to joining NATO? As well as discussing the chaos in the UK government. But first, the resignation of Johnson's ministers. In the last 48 hours, the Conservative government has been thrown into disarray. This all started last week when the Deputy Chief Whip was accused of groping two men at the Carlton Club. Accusations have existed about him for a number of years, prompting questions from journalists about what Johnson knew and when. This led to a completely botched communication strategy whereby Number 10 was specifically accused of lying. This seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back, and both the Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, and the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, promptly resigned. There was then a flurry of resignations of junior ministers, creating a sense of panic in Number 10. We're writing this on the morning of the 6th of July, and I'm actually recording this minutes from Prime Minister's questions, which could actually feature some more interesting news, so make sure you subscribe to tomorrow's episode to hear more about it. Moving to Ukraine, where the governor of the Donetsk region has ordered all 350,000 civilians still in the region to evacuate immediately. The evacuation comes just a day after Russia declared victory in the neighbouring region of Luhansk, and at basically the same time as air raid sirens were issued across the entirety of the country. It's now widely expected that Russia will now focus its offensive in the Donetsk region and specifically concentrate efforts in targeting the region's administrative centre, Kramatorsk, which houses critical infrastructure, including water filtration plants. Talking to reporters on Tuesday evening, the governor said, quote, "The destiny of the whole country will be decided by the Donetsk region. Once there are less people, we will be able to concentrate more on our enemy and perform our main tasks." There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine, or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. Police have arrested over 130 people across Europe suspected of smuggling thousands of people across the English Channel into the UK. The Europe-wide operation targeted a major organised crime group, French authorities said. The European law enforcement organisation Europol said that the operation involved police from 22 countries, including the UK, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden and more. Europol said that more than 22,000 law enforcement officers took part in the action days, during which checks were carried out at European sea, land and air borders, with an additional focus on heavily utilised routes into Europe. As well as the arrests, 60 more suspects were identified, 220 forged documents detected, and more than 130 possible victims of human rights trafficking identified. A Caribbean court has ruled that a law in Antigua and Barbuda criminalising same-sex sexual relationships is unconstitutional. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, which has jurisdiction over a number of Caribbean countries and territories, found that the selection of an intimate partner is a private and a personal choice, and that the criminalisation of same-sex intimacy, whilst rarely enforced, violates a number of constitutional rights, including right to liberty, freedom of expression, personal privacy, and more. The Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality, or ECADE, launched a 5-country legal challenge in 2020, taking on what it described as invasive and unconstitutional remnants of colonial law. Constitutional challenges to similar laws are pending in other former British colonies, like Barbados, St Lucia and St Kitts and Nevis. TikTok is in the process of being sued by the families of 2 girls who died while attempting the Blackout Challenge. In essence, participants in this challenge suffocate themselves until they pass out. The parents are specifically arguing that the algorithms are to blame for their daughters' deaths, as it promoted this dangerous challenge to them. This court was filed in the Los Angeles County Superior Court, and the family will be represented by the Social Media Victims Law Center, or SMVLC. About the case, a founding member of the SMVLC said, TikTok needs to be held accountable for pushing deadly content to these two young girls. TikTok has invested billions of dollars to intentionally design products that push dangerous content that it knows is dangerous and can result in the deaths of its users. That's all we have time for on YouTube today, but if you want more, including our discussion of how close Sweden and Finland are to joining NATO and the chaos in Johnson's government, then watch the extended edition of the Daily Briefing over on Nebula. Nebula subscribers not only get everything you've already watched ad-free, but also an extended edition of the show every single day, available to watch on Nebula or stream on your podcast app of choice. So if you want to support the channel and get a more extensive daily briefing every day, you'll want to sign up. And there's good news. Our friends at CuriosityStream, the streaming service which offers some of the best documentaries, is offering a deal whereby you can get both platforms, CuriosityStream and Nebula, for less than $15 a year. That's all the best documentaries you could want on CuriosityStream, and then more TLDR on Nebula, including the extended briefing, other full exclusive TLDR videos, and it's always ad-free. Click the link below to get both services for less than $15 a year and support the channel.